Hi, my name is Michael and I'm the Shop Geek, and welcome to our badly lit episode. We've turned off the power in the house because today we're going to be replacing a light switch. Fresh parts. You'll need one switch and one wall plate. Now this is called Decora. It's a nice square shape instead of these hideously ugly old contractor grade switches. And this is a very simple upgrade that you can do at home. Now, please be careful with electricity. I have been electrocuted and let me tell you, it sucks. So, we've turned off the power and being lit by a big extension cord to the neighbor's house. For today's particular replacement, you're going to need a screwdriver, a pair of pliers, wire cutters, a sharp utility knife because I can't seem to find my wire strippers, and electrical tape if you're in the mood for it. So, let's get started. We're going to first remove the old switch plate. We're going to save all these parts in case we ever need another switch, or rather another ugly switch somewhere. And the wall plates are usually stuck to the wall by paint, because when people paint their walls, they stick these on long before the paint is dry. So that pops off quite nicely. Now you'll notice this is a single pole, single throw switch, and I'm going to replace it with another single pole, single throw. It's very easy to tell how many that is. You'll notice on the back of this switch I have two brass screws. That's going to be my electrical in and my electrical out, and this green screw is for my ground wire. I should, when I pull this out of the wall, see exactly the same thing on the back. So let's get this unscrewed and we'll have a look. Okay, I have unscrewed the top and the bottom, and I'm going to pull this out gently. I'm going to take a look inside. Now, even though I know most of this house has no power, I'm going to be very careful of touching any other wires in the wall. And it seems that our white is connected and fine, and our black wires are connected to two locations on the switch. And there is no ground on this switch since it's an older model. So I'm going to loosen up my wires, unscrewing here, and unscrewing here. Now when you're replacing a switch, take a moment. I'm going to use my wires to loosen this up. Take a moment to check the wires inside. You'll notice that these wires, if I can get them loosened, there we go. You'll notice that these wires are still shiny and copper colored, as they should be. Sometimes you'll open one of these up and these wires will be green. That generally means either your house is too humid or you're getting some water leakage into the electrical box, which obviously is not a good thing. In that case, you want to cut the ends off and strip the wire back. Now, most switches and outlets made today have a little measuring line on the back. It's going to be hard to see on the camera, but you can use that as an indicator of just how long you should strip the wire. And these have a little extra metal. I'm actually going to trim these back just a little bit with my wire cutters. There we go. And I'm going to retwist the hooks on there. Now, when you're applying these to the new terminals, you always want to wrap the wire in a clockwise rotation. Otherwise, when you tighten the screw, the wire is actually going to come out as you tighten. So, in the clockwise direction, I'm going to check for my top, make my life easy, and put these on in the same direction that they were before. And I'm going to use my pliers just to tighten them around the screw a little bit. There we go. Oops. All right. And my screwdriver, tighten those down. Okay, now I want to show you what's happened here. This wire is up nice and flush to the brass portion of the switch. This wire is exposed a little too far, so I'm going to loosen that up and twist that wire again. This is something minor that I can do right now to make sure that I don't get any arcing inside the electrical box. Arcing is when a spark jumps from the wire to the metal, and it's extremely dangerous. Arcing is what causes most house fires. So you want to be careful of your exposed wires and make sure that they're not too long. I'm actually going to trim this one back a little bit. Oops. I'll get in there with the wire trimmer. There we go. So, I've made my clockwise bend. I'm going to wrap my terminal with that. And now you'll see that my wires and my wire sheathing ends within the brass area. So, alright. Now you'll notice I didn't attach a ground wire. My ground wires are attached to the electrical box here, as they should be. Normally they're put onto these if there is no ground plate within the box. So this is actually grounded through the screws, through the assembly that's all touching metal. So we can push this back into the plate. And again, I'm checking to make sure my top is up. And I'm going to align my screws. There we go. Oops. This is usually the trickiest part of this job. Alright, that one's aligned. And that tightened. Just enough to align this one. And we'll tighten this down to the wall. If you're picky about the way your switches look, and you should be, you want to make sure that you've got the switch aligned at this point. Once you tighten these screws down, the switch position will align the plate position. So, okay, check to see if we're straight, and we're not. I'm going to loosen this. There we go. Good. Very good. Alright, you also want to look down the side and make sure that you're not too close with the wires to the metal box. Again, you'll get arcing, and normally with that you'll hear it right away. It sounds like a sizzling a static discharge. So. The new design of these is very nice. They put a little plastic tab on the back to stop the screws from falling out if you open the package too quickly, like I just did. So, now we'll align our new plate. A quick word on these wall plates. They come in two different styles. One is a hard plastic, I think it's a polystyrene, and one is a nylon. The nylon they call unbreakable. It costs about 3 times as much as the plastic plate, but if your wall isn't even and you want to crank that down so it's flush all the way around, get the nylon one. If you put the screws too tight on this one, it will actually crack, and then you just need a new wall plate. So. Alright. Keep an eye on your screw heads. When they're aligned the same way and they're level with the top and the bottom, it looks a little cleaner rather than having them on different angles. At this point, all we need to do is turn on the power and test the switch. So we've turned the circuit breaker back on, and here's one final safety tip. When you test the switch, hold your hand away, pointing away from the switch. That way, if you do get electrocuted, your hand will pull away from the switch rather than slamming up against the wall. So, and we're good.